We are going to get started. So, welcome to Unfinished Friday. Great crowd today. Good to see all of you. Still people joining in, but you all know what Unfinished Friday is, and I love Kevin's background today, helping me out with that unfinished look, because we're all unfinished. We're all trying to learn and grow and get better. And man, it's awesome to have Justin on today. Justin is with Thrive Corporate Events, and just a guy that has been showing up. Showing up everywhere. And I know in a time where a lot of businesses are hurting, and the industry of events is not what it used to be. We'll put it that way. Justin has shown such resiliency and just the ability to pivot and to look at things differently. You can't just sit back and get ready for it all to come back. You've got to go out and you've got to change and grow, and Justin's been doing that. So Justin, I am going to let you take over and take it away.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Aaron, for having me. So as most of you know, I do corporate event planning. So it's been a little interesting, but I'm going to try and kind of do this talk on talking about kind of 3 key words that you can use kind of in any sort of business decision. Some of you have probably heard of this before. So I call it the loop of truth. For me, I call it that. One, it's a little branding on the Thrive world, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I think this can be used on any business decision, not only if it's an event, if it's a new revenue stream that you want to look at adding, if it's a marketing campaign you're doing, if you're launching a new product, really anything. I think these kind of 3 words really can come into play on this. I am going to share what this is. So this is the loop of truth for me. And you have 3 words. You have good, you have fast, and you have cheap. So when we look at all those words, the trick to all of this is you can, in general, you can only pick 2 of those words for any project that you're working on. So what are you going to pick to make that happen? So I believe Disney did this a lot. I tried to do some research and I couldn't find the exact source. Some people call it the triangle. It's in a triangle form. There's lots of little incarnations of this same concept. So really, so if you're picking 2, you are looking at, let's say we're doing a new marketing campaign, right? So how fast do you want to go? So if you need to go fast, but you still want it to be good, in general, it won't be cheap. That's not saying that's end all be all, but in general, and I bet Kevin can attest to this, if you want it done in 48 hours, you're going to pay for that. But if you give Kevin to market your campaign 4 weeks and he can spread that out a little bit, you're going to really save some money there. Or if you tell Kevin that you want it done in 48 hours, I bet you it won't be as good as if you give him 3 weeks to make that happen. Not saying it still won't be good, it just won't be where it should be. This happens a lot, especially in events, as well as I've seen it in website design and everything. I'm actually working with another venue right now, and they're doing website design, and literally that was the words in the email. This was going to be better, but they wanted it up in a week. And it's like, well, there goes the problem, right? So they wanted it cheap and they wanted it fast. And so it's not very good. So there, I think it's just a thing. I find it in events a lot that I tell my clients all of this, what do they want to do? And I start any meeting when they tell me the date of their event, if it's within 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I'm like, are you ready? Because it depends on where you want to go on what you want to spend. So I like using those 3 words. I tell everyone that, all my clients. And so I guess I just kind of want to put it out there and sort of make it a little bit of a group discussion. If there is any other kind of examples and your guys' lines of work that maybe this same concept has kind of taken place and maybe you've never even realized that that did happen, that they sort of chose 2 words that it really holds true on that. So anyone have any examples of anything they've maybe done or seen or been a part of?
Well, I managed a body shop for almost 12 years, and I can tell you that is absolutely true. Um, if you want it, fast and cheap, it's not going to be good. There's plenty, there's shops out there that will do that work, and it's fast and cheap, and it's terrible. Um, there's a reason why Mako will paint your car for $299. So yeah, you're absolutely spot on with those 3 things.
Yeah, so I think products are a big thing. But to me, I can see a lot of where this can still come into play is how you're kind of structuring your company or your ideas of, let's say Jennifer, you're, with Tim, with Zen Granite, what he's wanting to do and where he wants to take that company. I bet you've had to say to him like, hey, we need to slow down a little bit, take our time and get this kind of going to make it better, right? Because most
apparently you haven't met Tim yet. He goes about as slow as he can go. But you're right on. Like, we have a fully digital shop, which means we have high quality. We can cut countertops to the millimeter, and we can make edges not square because the drywall is not often square, and our quality is outstanding. And it's good, but it's not cheap. It's not A1 counters. It's not guys with hand saws doing it on the job, trying to make it wiggle and fit and then caulking in the gaps. So there's a cost to being digital and a cost to being fast, because we can do it in 2 weeks, but it's going to be high quality, but there's a cost to that. So it's perfect example. I love this.
For sure.
I think even in like weight loss products, getting rid of toxicity in your life, there's so many promises out there. If you do this, it's going to happen fast. But it isn't that. Even in coaching, and I think Derek can attest to this, it is a process, and it's a building, and it's a layering of information and application, and it's not cheap, and there's a cost. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the clients that I've worked with in the past kind of used a similar model. And like you said, you can only choose 2 of the 3. So basically people are going to have to look at what they're sacrificing. You're going to sacrifice time, or you're going to sacrifice, what it's worth. And you put it into terms like that for them, and it's kind of helped me. But I know that I've had a couple of hands-on clients where we had to have this discussion over and over and over again, because it's like, well, why can't you do this tomorrow? And so I'm glad that you're preaching this. This is good stuff.
Yeah. And I, Kevin, have found the same thing. And that's honestly why I had my graphics guy create a logo for me that was branded for me, so that I could simply say to everyone, like, I carry it with me in my bag when I do my consultations of like, here is the deal. And I am very upfront and open with people about that. And it's probably even lost me a couple, people probably, you push their button a little bit, they may not like it. But in general, I would rather push it and suffer the consequences, because I think in the long run, everything kind of comes out better, and they see like, yeah, they really want to take care of you, kind of thing. So let's see, 2 minutes. Anyone, any questions, any other thoughts on it?
Question: when you take people through this and you go through the tripod, if you will, and they say, I want it good, and fast and cheap are not my alternatives, what's your next step in leading them through the process?
Well, I think that for me, especially as an events person, you know, the next biggest question is when is the event is always the kicker, right? Because we're on a timeline, you know, versus maybe if there is a campaign that's happening and you can decide when that campaign is, then there's a little flexibility. But even some events, there is that flexibility. I know one company I was working with, they wanted it good. And then I said, what's your next one? And they said they wanted it cheaper. And I said, great, when do you want to do it? And they said, whenever you tell us. And so I could guide them and say, hey, listen, we need to take 6 months to plan this size of an event, or we need to plan 8 months. And then we found a date around that time period so that we could get it for them.
Because that's where I was going with it. If you have the opportunity to map it out for them, then you can usually get them a better value at less cost, and you can do it in a realistic time frame for them as well. And you might even get from good to great in the process.
For sure. I think time is always the one that gets people. Time and cheap is usually the two that are like, they always want that, and then they forget about the good part or great.
It's a great process.
This happens in credit card processing all the time, where people will call me and it's like, well, I'm setting up a business in 48 hours. We're going to open, can you get me set up on credit card processing, or we need to get a point of sale and we've got 30 days. They don't realize the time it takes to get some of these systems set up, because they think, well, I can go get Square, I can go get these other systems, but not only do you not get the customer service, you don't necessarily get, sometimes they're cheaper, sometimes they're not. A lot of times they're not, but they want fast, but they're not going to get quality service. They're not going to get quality, any advisory capacity or anything that really they don't think about security. With those fast systems, there's not the security. So, okay, business owner, can you risk $80,000 if you got a fine for MasterCard Visa because you had a breach? Ooh, no, that'll put somebody out of business, but they don't think about that. They're only thinking about how much are my fees. That's always the question, and it's not one size fits all.
Yeah. Hey, I know Derek had a comment or question, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah. When dealing with businesses, it's always funny to see how they want a quick fix when it's taken them years to get to the point that they're at. If they're in trouble, or they're not communicating well, or they need to make some changes, like they've created habits over years and years and years. And then they're like, can you fix this in a month? And the answer is usually, no, I can give you a tool, but in a month, I can't teach you how to use the tool. So, and learning a new habit. Yeah. Everybody gets into those bad things over time, but we all want, me included at times, want a quick fix.
All right, Justin, wrap us up.
Yeah, I think I use this all the time and it works great every time. So I definitely implore you, find those ways to bring that into your company, or share it around people if someone's struggling with a decision of what they're wanting to do. Sharing those 3 words. So.
Well, thank you for sharing today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Yeah, those are great. It's simple. It's like, it's simple. Of course, that's what I like about it. Simple is good, but it's powerful. And so it's something you can take today. If you haven't done it before, you can take it today and you can implement it for everything. So, so appreciate that. Hey, next week, just a little teaser. We have Brett Boyer is going to be joining us. So you'll want to jump on for that. And thanks again to Justin. I appreciate you and just the way you show up and leading through this crazy time. So thanks again, and you guys all have a great Friday and finish strong.
Thanks,
everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.